Hey there guys, and welcome back to UnJaded Jade. So today I'm going to be talking about veganism and why I'm vegan. Okay, so I just want to start by saying that my aim is never going to be to preach at you. None of my friends or my family really are vegan. There's a few like vegetarian, but yeah, I don't live around vegan people, and I wholeheartedly appreciate that it is your life. It's your choice. I'm not going to judge you for what you eat. Like, I respect, you know, you can go out after this video and you can continue to eat whatever you like. No judgment, it's fine. I kind of hope that you have the same respect for like my diet. Please no vegan hate. But yeah, I just thought I'd put this disclaimer in because I know it's definitely a stereotype around being like a hater, angry, preachy vegan, and I kind of don't want to like attain to that. Okay, so this video is going to be about why I personally went vegan and how veganism went from this foreign, far-fetched idea to something that I felt like I just had to at least try. So I'm going to break this video down into three sort of branches of reasons. The first being animals, second being environment, and third one being health. And I encourage you to kind of listen to each of the branches of reasons because I feel like people who are vegan tend to have their reasons mainly in one of those three branches. Also, I don't want you to think that I'm just stupidly making claims to try and support my opinion. So there will be quite a lot of like statistics in this video. And I've got a lot of these from the internet or through research from like reliable sources or documentaries that I've watched and that kind of thing, and I will link down a lot of the sources that I have in the description box below if you're interested. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first reason, and that is for the animals. And there's this big quote, and I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but if slaughterhouses had glass walls, everyone would be vegan. And I heard this quote and I was like, haha, yeah, okay, cool, but I'm not going vegan. And it was only when I started doing like research into the actual sort of slaughterhouse conditions and how things actually are, and not just what the companies want to make you believe, that it kind of just hit me that I felt like I should do something about it, I guess. I clearly knew nothing. You see these happy adverts and you see the free range eggs and you see the chickens and they're happily going around their lives and they're going in this green field, and you see the cows and they're just happily being milked by some little traditional farmer, and you think, great, so happy that my food is coming from these cute little farms, awesome. And I wish it was that way, but that is not how it works. So just to prove to you how uneducated I was, I did not know that a cow had to have given birth in order to have the milk, to be milked, to give us the milk. I didn't even really know that the milk we drink is the milk that was made for that calf. And the fact that we are drinking the milk means that the calf isn't. And that basically means that as soon as the cow gives birth to the calf has to be killed so that we can have the milk that was meant for it, if that makes any sense. And again, that's a concept that seems so like obvious now that I hear it, but it didn't click with me. I did not know that male chicks, so obviously you have your chickens, you have your eggs, I did not know that male chicks in the egg industry are basically useless because they don't produce eggs. Therefore, all the little male chicks, as soon as they hatch from their eggs, are all put on this massive conveyor belt and literally are put into a churner and they are ground up alive. You never even stop to think about things like that, like the male chicks who don't produce eggs, what happens to them? You assume that they just get to go somewhere or live out their lives. But no, they are killed almost instantly and churned up. I did not know that free range does not mean what people think it does. The free range adverts show chickens in a beautiful lush field, enjoying their life, having a great time, when in reality, the definition of free range is really horribly vague. So the definition is basically that chickens need to have access to the outdoors. However, that is for an undetermined length of time, so it could be 1 minute a day, it could be 2 hours a day, like there's no regulations on that. And also I did not realise that free range means you can have up to 9 chickens per square metre, which is literally no space. That's so cramped. And the majority of chickens that are in the free range industry are in massive sheds cramped to the brim like this, you know, they're all fighting over each other. In order to qualify for the free range, the farmer can open a tiny little hatch, you know, to the outdoors, and basically the ones closest to the doors might be able to go outside for like 5 minutes that day or something, but that allows them to qualify as free range. And I find that absolutely insane, because people think that these chickens are having happy lives in order to provide you eggs or happy meat or whatever, but that is not the case. And also, because they are in such cramped conditions, the farmers de-beak almost every single chicken, and that basically means that their beak is shoved into like a little hole, and they're not given like any painkillers or anaesthetic or anything, and it's just bam, they chop off the beak, and the last little dull bit falls off within like a week or two. And the sole reason that they do that is so that the chickens do not peck each other to death, because they are so crammed on top of each other that they literally would just kill one another if they had their beaks still on. And I don't think people even realise that their chickens are de-beaked. And that's not a happy life, you know, and it all gets infected and disgusting and pussy. Equally with chickens for meat, you can have up to 13 chickens per square metre, so that's even worse. I did not know that in the dairy industry, cows are effectively raped in order to have the calves so that they can produce the milk for us to drink. They literally call them in the industry rape racks, and they stuff the female cow into this rack, and they basically force, like artificially force semen into her so that she is pregnant and can have the calf. However, the cows are doing this constantly, so as soon as they give birth, you know, they drain the milk from them, and then bam, you know, pregnant again. And cows can normally live up to 25 years. However, in the dairy industry, they live to about 4, because they just stop producing as much milk, and then bam, you know, they stop producing milk, you're going for meat now. The cows are also so genetically modified that they produce up to 12 times the amount of milk that they normally would for a calf. And even though they produce that much milk, 97% of calves are forcibly removed from their mother within the first 24 hours of them being born. That's insane. So obviously the male calves, they are not going to grow up to have milk. So bam, they are straight away off to the veal industry to be killed for veal. Like, the veal industry would not exist if it wasn't for dairy. So, you know, dairy is clearly awful as well. I don't think people realise how awful dairy actually is. They think it's just the meat, but it's all like very interlinked. And then the female calves are either put into a random like pen or something, kept there for about 2 or 3 months, and they're not even fed cow's milk, because we drink the cow's milk. So instead they're given like a milk substitute, which is not going to help them grow at all. And then they might be put into the dairy industry, or if there are too many, they're killed as well for meat. But cows, just like every other mammal, are really attached to their young. And it literally like breaks my heart that as soon as they give birth to their baby, the baby is just ripped from them, and a lot of like female cows mourn for days or weeks, and it's just not right. It's just not right. But yeah, again, I'm not trying to make you vegan, I just want you to kind of know the truth. If you appreciate the truth, then that's fine. Right, so there's far more I can say, but I think I'm going to move on to the next branch, which is the environment. And people don't realise how much of an impact the animal agriculture and meat industry has on the earth. Let me throw out my first fact for you, and this is quite staggering. So, all of the world's transport today, yeah, that makes up about 18% of CO2 for global warming. So, you know, that's awful, that's 18%. That contributes so much carbon dioxide to the global warming, which is killing our earth, right? However, animal agriculture is said to contribute up to 51%. 51% of carbon dioxide levels. That's mad. That is more than all of the Earth's transport combined. Because, you know, cows produce methane, and also all the power. That's mad. That is mad. And the government are just absolute like liars, because they sit here trying to get everyone to reduce their vehicle use public transport, all of that, when, to be honest, if you went vegan, you would be stopping the contribution of a lot of CO2 per year, like a lot. Right, next fact I'm going to throw at you. I'm going to have to read this off my phone, but as of today, we do have enough food to feed 10 billion people. But there are only 7 billion in this world, right? However, as it turns out, 50% of all the grains worldwide are being eaten by animals in the animal agriculture industry. And then there are literally 82% of children living next to these livestock who are starving. So you have all these families in Africa and everything, technically could be fed, but it's not fed to them, it's fed to the animals in the animal agriculture industries who should be eating grass, but no, they're eating grain because it's cheaper. And that is stupid. There are so many people starving on this planet, and yet we are feeding the animals that we are going to eat. So 1 pound of hamburger meat is equivalent to 75 kilograms of CO2 emissions, which is the same as using your car non-stop for 3 weeks. Equally, there is a massive global water crisis right now, and the animal agriculture industry takes up a lot of this world's water. The production of one hamburger has used 3,000 litres of water. And 3,000 litres of water is the same as showering for 2 months straight. So you pick up that hamburger, everything that has gone into that is the same as showering for 3 months straight. That is mad. That is insane. If you think about plants, how much water they take to grow, I mean, sure, it's a lot, but relatively, nothing in comparison. So going vegan reduces your water consumption by 1/3. Another staggering statistic is livestock and animal agriculture covers 45% of Earth's land surface. So 45% of this world's land is used to graze cows or for meat or for dairy purposes, and that is insane. The land needed to feed one meat eater for a year, is 18 times the amount of land that is needed to feed a vegan. And my last statistic that I'm going to throw out at you, just putting it out there, is animal agriculture is responsible for 91% of rainforest destruction. That's a lot. Basically, the idea is, if you say that you care about the environment, or you say that you're environmentalist, then why aren't you vegan? Like, I mean, everyone can like recycle and everything, but changing your eating habits can have such a massive difference. Imagine if everyone was vegan. I'm not trying to sound like a preacher vegan, trying to make everyone vegan, but just imagine if everyone was vegan, so many worldly issues would be resolved, or would be more easy to resolve. Okay, and my final branch of reasons is health. And I don't think a lot of people like think about this one. So I often hear the counter argument, oh, but we were made to eat meat. We've been eating meat for thousands of years. Our ancestors, you know, they ate meat. Great. And upon wanting to turn vegan, that was one of my arguments too. So I did a hell load of research, and basically the consensus is that the human body is more physiologically similar to that of a herbivore than it is an omnivore or a carnivore. So look at our teeth. We don't have proper canines that a carnivore does, you know, which is made for meat. We don't make the enzyme in our mouth that can digest protein straight away in our mouths, which all carnivores do have. So physiologically, we are almost more of a herbivore than we are of a carnivore. Even in our guts, we don't digest a lot of meat, and a lot of it just turns straight into waste, whereas a carnivore could digest a lot of that. Anyway, that's just a random thought which I thought was quite cool. Equally, everything that you do need to be a healthy individual can be found in plants and in grains and legumes and all that sort of thing. The only thing which you kind of have to supplement is B12, and the only reason for that is you can get B12, but it's because it's in the soil. And so say we all grew our own vegetables and we took them out the ground, we washed them like once or twice and we ate them, you'd be fine. However, because nowadays everything's all processed, the fact is vegetables and stuff get washed so often that you don't retain the B12 from the soil. Therefore, I do recommend supplementing that like once a week or whatever, but yeah, pretty much everyone is deficient in that, even meat eaters. So that is not a reason not to go vegan. Another reason, so the #1 killer worldwide is heart disease and heart attacks and cardiac attacks, and the consumption of meat and dairy products and eggs greatly contribute to your risk of getting these diseases. And going vegan can radically reduce your chances of getting these diseases. I've read like loads of articles and there's not like a conclusive statistic. I think I've read things like, oh, it can cut your risk of heart disease by 1/3 or by 50% or by 70%. And even though people can't seem to agree on that, what they can agree on is that it definitely does reduce your risk of heart disease and of actually a lot of cancers. I'm not saying you're not going to get it, but I'm saying it reduces your risk. And this is because, let me read this to you, carnitine is found only in red meat, eggs and dairy, and this is converted to a toxic metabolite in the gut, and this acts as a transporter of that bad cholesterol to the arteries, which makes you more likely to have a heart attack. And that carnitine is only found in animal products, not in fruit or veg. So yeah. Right, equally, this kind of links to what I was saying earlier, but milk from a cow is made for a baby cow. It is not made for humans to drink. Therefore, it contains all the proteins that a growing calf would need. So it's kind of weird that we drink it. Like, we are the only species that drinks the milk of another species. Like, it doesn't actually make sense if you actually think about it. Also, when I learnt this, I was like mind blown. Right, so you know a lot of people are like, oh my god, I could not give up cheese, I love milk, blah blah blah. Right, so milk contains the protein casein, I don't know how to say it, but when it is digested in your body, it turns into casomorphins, and these have an opiate-like structure, so they have an addictive quality. And this is obviously so that a calf, you know, has that addictive quality, so it wants to continue drinking the milk from its mother. Like, naturally it makes sense. However, when humans start to have it, digest it, it just makes you want more cheese or be more addicted to products with milk in them. And that is very unnatural. Equally, you know, so many people are lactose intolerant, and that is because humans were not made to be having lactose at an adult stage. So only babies make lactase naturally to break down milk and lactose. However, as you get older, you do stop making the protein lactase, and therefore lactose becomes a lot harder to digest. However, because humans consume a lot of dairy, we've almost like forced our bodies to be able to come up with more lactase to digest this lactose, but it's not good for you. Lactose doesn't really provide any benefits. There is calcium in milk, that is true. However, there is just as much, if not more, calcium in plant milks. However, it does not come with the casomorphins, it does not come with the lactose, it does not come with the pus and the disease-ridden blood pieces and muck and disgusting stuff that there are found traces of in milk. I mean, animals that are slaughtered for meat are not tested beforehand to see if they contain a load of diseases. They're not vaccinated against the majority of diseases. Therefore, say they had cancer, say they had a tumour that the people didn't know about, say they had this random other disease, yeah? You are ingesting the flesh of a diseased animal or the byproducts of a diseased animal, and that is more likely to make you ill. You've had outbreaks, you know, E. coli, swine flu, all these other random diseases, yeah? A lot of them are from what you eat, and they are all animal products, and it's very rare that you will get a disease like that from plants. Right, so I can almost feel it now. I can feel the negative hate vegan comments. I can feel the comments of someone saying, oh, but bacon. And thing is, yes, sure, meat tastes great. And sure, cheese is the best thing ever. And, you know, everyone wants bacon in the morning and all of that. But when you kind of weigh it all up and you look at all these other far bigger reasons than your taste buds, I don't know, for me anyway, it did kind of put things into perspective, and I personally decided to try being vegan for 30 days. It also takes time to break a habit, and after those 30 days were up, I have not craved cheese or milk products or eggs or any meat, even though I haven't had meat for like 10 years. I have not craved any of it, because the thing is, your taste buds do change and adapt, and as I was saying with the things like casomorphins, you won't be addicted to it anymore if you're not going to be having it anymore. And I feel so like happy on a plant diet. It's not boring. You can still eat Oreos, you can still eat loads of other random like rubbishy foods, except you are inadvertently helping the planet and animals. Anyway, regardless of your life choices, whatever, I hope this video made you think. I'm so glad if you made it to this point in the video. I know some people can be quite closed to these sorts of ideas, and I get it, because it's easier to be ignorant than to face the sort of horrible truths, especially if they relate to your own lifestyle habits. Anyway, more vegan videos to come in the future. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really don't like it when people force their opinions on other people, so I hope that I sort of gave you my opinion without forcing it down your throat. Anyway, bye.